Now it's all in play. Glory's call in the all-star fray. 12 dreams clash. It's the league showcase. Glory's chase. Feel the ground shake. You stand tall. Never fear the climb. All for one. And it's game time. In the stands. Hear the roaring crowds. Wearing colors. We're standing proud. 12 teams fight under the spotlight's rays. Glory's night in the all-star blaze. Sweat and toil on this hallowed turf. One will rise.
Good evening, All Stars. Hope you're all well on this this Wednesday eve. Evening to Alex. Alex, great to see you, mate. I hope you're keeping well. Obviously, with not many Super League streams happening, we've not really kind of spoke. I had much interaction over the last couple of weeks, mate. So I hope you're well. Hope you're keeping well. Steve, good evening to you, and the Mega Horse, good evening to you. As we reach what is the conclusion of the regular league season in the All Stars, we've had 31 game weeks. Tonight will be the 32nd, and as you can see along the ticker, the playoffs are all confirmed, with 8 teams from the 12 making it. And unfortunately, Gators, Short Pump, a Local Fire, and the Memphis Rains not quite making it. And the rest of the 8 teams will be drawn at random at the conclusion of tonight's fixtures, playing in a best of 3 format, which is highly unique for competitive champ. It'll be the first time we've seen that format. So essentially, the team that comes out with the most wins over, or the least losses, I suppose, over the 3 fixtures will progress through to the next round of the playoffs. So just a reminder tonight, bringing the curtain down on the league season, we have Alcatraz, Hopkins' Alcatraz against Rox's Memphis Rains. We have Horses Des Moines Demons against Savages Drivetrain. We have Scotty's El Loco Fire against the St. Domingos Bisons. We have Gators against Dandies. We have Rob against Dimble in Short Pump v Pelham. And we have Steve's Steam Pigs versus Jens's Vikings. And more or less all the teams tonight have went full strength. Given that the suspensions are backing up in terms of hanging over into the playoffs, I was very surprised by that. And we'll see where the game wants to take us first. The game wants to take us to the battle of the mates, really, in Savage versus Horse. Not sexual mates, just really good friends. And it is the now familiar Drivetrain V12X, 3 up top. Quite unusual, the formation, as we've said many times before, with the 3 up top with the 2 backward arrows. Certainly can't remember any other formation in Super League or otherwise, or Horse or Swemp or what's one called? Unicorns, I can't remember. Or the Game's Gone. Can't remember any formations with 2 backward arrows on 2 strikers, and actually 2 strikers who are probably best known as AMCs or FCs. Savage's form, just coming into the back end of the season, is solid. And if we just have a look at the form table, the Des Moines come into this top of the form table with the Des Moines, with the Dandies close behind them. And actually, it's no surprise that really the 4 teams that haven't made the playoffs do make 4 of the worst 5 in terms of form. Tato and Savage are in the chat. Good evening to you, lads. We will go with the Drivetrain. Big Wednesday night wheel from Spudman. Over to the Des Moines Demons. There is a fan favourite appearance tonight. Dr. Kamalo, the only change for Recoba in that AMC position. And Alex, if you haven't seen much of the All Stars over the last couple of weeks, you're probably wondering, what the hell is this? Well, this has been a pretty destructive formation over the last couple of weeks, scoring 14 goals across 3 games and really putting to bed some sides who also like a goal as well in the teams. So we will see what happens here tonight. Drivetrain have finished above the Des Moines Demons in terms of the league, but this will be an interesting runoff for 2 teams who will be into the playoffs. Boya's name mentioned earlier, who has been fairly quiet for Savage. It'll be interesting to see what he does with him in the summer, given that he's not really produced, but Drivetrain haven't suffered as a result, and it is Thierry Henry who puts his team 1-0 up inside 11 minutes. Rob Sloth saying short pumps number 3 fan and Alex, and that is I think it was Volodenkov with a volley who just puts it wide. Sigalko puts it wide. Bit of pressure coming from the Des Moines Demons. Evening Dimble, mate, hope you're well. Henry broke the offside trap. The flag's trade down, and there's Delvecchio, but he is flagged for a foul on Dr. Kamalo by Alessandro Nesta. Nesta started absolutely on fire for Savage, but he has tailed off as well, not being particularly amazing. But I suppose he's not had to because they've been scoring the goals for fun. Side in goal. Ooh, and Paredes just heads it over the bar. We do get a half time. Certainly did feel as though both teams had a hell of a lot of chances. This is what the All Stars are about. A lot of chances, but unfortunately, teams not putting the goals in the back of the net. Mix of 6s and 7s and 8s. And Toldo, as you'd expect from somebody who's faced 10 shots, sits on an 8, having only conceded the 1. Very little passes for the Des Moines Demons, although the tactic isn't really engineered to be kind of keeping the ball. Over at the Drivetrain, nobody lower than a 7. Lee Boy on a yellow card, and Thierry Henry having 6 chances, 3 on goal. And Savage will probably be looking at his main guy this season, thinking he should have probably put at least 1 more of those chances away. It is Scholes as well, who has been very, very good for Savage over the last couple of game weeks, popping up with the goals here or there. But yeah, decent match. And Horse goes to 60 minutes. Let's just have a little bit of a look at what the goal was. Henry intercepted from Nesta and just kind of went on a mazy run and scored and put the ball in the back of the net. As both managers say, they will go to 60. Next, massive. Both managers go on full strength, so you're not necessarily learning anything about any players with the exception of Dr. Kamalo. Over to the Drivetrain, conditions-wise, nothing much to worry about. Medovic here on 89%, Scholes on 89%, otherwise everybody is above 90. Thierry Henry is on the 8 with Nesta and Giannichella, who has been very good for Savage this season. Really has been putting the tackles in on an 8 as well. Over to the Des Moines Demons. Tato, nobody's mate. I'll push it towards the back. Few 6s amongst some 7s and 8s. Really just not creating meaningful chances. Having chances in terms of the match stats, but certainly only the Volodenkov shot that he put wide earlier in the game was the one that stands out. Conditions-wise, 88 and 89%, 87%. So again, nothing too significant as the fixtures have tailed off from that congestion that we had earlier in the league and cup season. Of course, after the playoffs, we've got the unusual fixture of the cup final between the Dandies and the Drivetrain. So that is still a cup to play for as well for both of those teams that do find themselves in the playoffs. Horse finding himself 1-0 behind here and just maybe tempted to get the likes of Amoroso on for Dr. Kamalo, who's on a 6. And potentially likes to move kind of Volodenkov around just a little bit, especially if the likes of Teneto or Lusenhoff do come on. Playoffs will kick off on Sunday evening with Kitchen Dan. Packs will be out straight away as well as the fixtures. I'll draw the fixtures live, but I'll send them out into the group chat anyway, boys. And we will go from there. Horse, if you can get your subs in, please, mate, that'd be grand. Lovely, excellent. Doctor off for Teneto left wing back, Bauma left wing, Volodenkov right wing, and that was as crystal clear. Thank you very much, Horsey. And let me just see, did Savage come in with any changes? Savage, I haven't seen your changes there, mate. If you can just let me know. I know you had a few issues with YouTube chat the other day on Dan's stream and then also on my stream. The latest one I've got from you, Savage, is till 60, please. Just give you a couple of seconds to let me know what you want to do, but I will crack on if nothing comes through. Who have I got in the playoffs? Says Rob Sloth. Rob, you can have anybody you want in the playoff, mate, because they'll be being played with a pack of crayons on your bedroom wall. Skulls to MC, Del Vecchio, Arrow to AMC. Just repeat that. Del Vecchio to AMC, Arrow Central. That makes sense. There we go. Del Vecchio, Arrow to AMC to Central. Savage, just clarify that last instruction. Scally back to the AMC, scores to AMC, Del Vecchio, Arrow to AMC to Central. Is it that, or is it that? It's not clear, matey. Just give you a couple of seconds. Oh, yes, I've mate. Yeah, that makes sense. Sorry, mate. I'm cracking on. It's a hell of a lot of time spent on sub 62 minutes played. Henri skips it over the bar. Henri shoots it wide. 84 minutes. Rivaldo. Toldo with another header. Scally, second goal, feels as though it's coming for Drivetrain. 89 minutes played. Final whistle goes, and the Drivetrain kick on from 7 shots at half time to 16 shots at full time. 10 shots at half time to 16 shots at full time, and do see out the 1-0 win. Interestingly, none of their players got man of the match. So we will probably Toldo man of the match. Yeah, makes sense. With a 9, 7s and 6s and 8s. Horse not bothered into the playoffs, and he will get ready to play whoever the league draws him with. Over to the short pump slots against the Pelham Pumas, two teams who have really struggled with packs over the last couple of weeks. Rob's is just starting to turn, but probably too late. Goes back to this formation, which did do a bit of damage earlier on in the season. And then Dimble's pack is horrendous in terms of what he's looking at. And hopefully these players will be back for the playoffs. So we've got Tomadera for a few days, Figo out for 3 weeks. 10 days for Danielson, and obviously 1 match suspensions for the boys there. A couple of changes. Kalate comes in. Cliver comes in place of Morientes, and also I believe Kovalchuk comes up from the reserves to the bench. Best of luck, boys, as we kick off game number 2. Salas there with a goal, 10th goal of the season. Remember that Pelham were the 3rd lowest in the form table. So Dimble will not be too bothered if he was to lose this, but there'd be a little bit of a pattern emerging in terms of form, and there is 2. Rob Sloth goes back to the one at the back with the wide AML and AMR, and they are doing the damage. Salas is ending the season as he started it. I think it was about game week 10 when he started to get games and came in and scored a hat-trick in the first game. And the short pump Sloths find themselves 2-0 up at half time, with Marcelo Salas finding his shooting boots again. Yeah, he's only played 15 games. He wasn't transferred in, so there was a good chunk of the season where he wasn't getting a sniff for Rob, and then came in and absolutely fired them off. And he's on a 10 at half time with a brace. Assists for Roberto and an unusual assist for Claude Makelele. Otherwise, everything looks fine condition and stats-wise. Over to Pelham, 5 for Westerveld. Must have been at fault for 1 of, if not 2 of those goals, and 6s for the front line, essentially from Agahawa to the MLMR, AMC, and 2 strikers. So we'll see what Dimble wants to do. Grease me up and pump me. Roll at a 60. There's no chance Rob Sloth's making any changes after that as well. So this is all set up quite nicely for a Rob Sloth 2-3 collapse. If you let me know what you want to do there, Robert, we'll keep on rolling on as Dimble bends over for you. Going to hit play for you, Rob. You're 2-0 up, and I haven't seen anything come through, so we will keep going. Free kick for Pelham. Can they be the team that scored the 3rd goal and put a bit of pressure on the short pump Sloths side? 56 minutes played. Certainly much more Pelham. 57 minutes played. Yellow card. Ronaldinho with a free kick. Nothing comes of it. 60 minutes there over from Ronaldinho, and we jump to 77 minutes. Go over to the short pump Sloths, who have the 1-6 in Gattuso, who has been pretty shit for Rob this season, to be fair. Came in with, definitely status in the league given his performances in Super League, but really hasn't done anything for Rob this season. Conditions wise, all look all right. Match ratings look fantastic, other than Gattuso on a 6 and Makelele is on a booking. Over to the Pelham boys, 2 5s now. Westerveld and Lasisi on 5s. And yeah, totally agree, Steve. He's got 10 in 16 now, given that he didn't play the first 10 games of the season, I think. Kaladze on a 6 and a booking. And conditions wise, Joe Cole, just a slight concern given how he can sometimes load in as being injury prone, but he really hasn't been for Dimble this season. So we'll see what he wants to do. Potentially Dimble maybe getting Kaladze off for Kovalchuk, Luciano Zauri off for Cole, I think. It wouldn't surprise us 2-0 down with nothing to play for if we see Ronaldinho hooked. Just to direct passing. Kovalchuk on for Soroczynski. Edilson for Kluivert. Swap with Ronnie. Zauri for Cole. How's Kovalchuk looking stats wise? It's a little bit early for him, but how's that passing looking? 17. Interesting. And we haven't had anything from Rob, so we will play it to the end as the short pump sloths look to hold on to this 2-0 lead that they've had from 24 minutes on and have looked relatively untroubled. Montella with a pot shot puts it wide. Yeah, really, really poor attacking from the Pelham boys, who offered everything after short pump's first 24 minutes at half time. They were on exactly the same stats. Bit of a smash and grab, you think, really, from short pump there. And Dimble will probably wish that he could get that game back, to be honest. Marcelo Salas with a man of the match performance with a brace and the assists as Roberto and Makelele, as we said. Over at the local Fire, playing the Gators tonight, and they revert back to their narrow goat formation, going back, interestingly, to the formation that they played and the exact 11 that they played when the Dandies handed them an arse kicking 4-1. And Yep, and he's playing the Bisons tonight, who go as is from their last game with Pierre, who has been a bit of an impact sub. 10 goals this season. Who'd have thought it when he drafted him in early doors? And we'll see if the Bisons can finish the season with a bang. Best of luck to both lads. Oh, I just realised that Tato has to go a little bit later. Tato, I'm really sorry, mate. I just went where the game had took us. Apologies. Corner kick, Giggs to Rossini, 26 minutes. If someone could just drop Tato a text, if he wouldn't mind. My phone's on charge behind us. And just let him know that I've just followed where the games took us. You can hurl us some abuse in the chat. Lee Young Pure's name being mentioned. Cabello puts it wide. 42 minutes played. Petit in there. Torres. And there is Rossini. Oh, it's disallowed. Petit offside. Look to come from nowhere. A local Fire look to have been on top. And they do get yes, Dims. I'm going to draw the playoff fixtures at the end of the stream, mate. I think there'll be a couple of clicks to go through, but I'll draw them straight away tonight. Cabello put his team 1-0 up at half time. Yeah, a local Fire did look the better side. Yeah, absolutely, completely random. I think I play tested it 3 times when no managers had it in, and each time the fixtures were totally different. So it is completely random. There's no seeding. Everybody's just essentially in that one pot, and whoever you get drawn, you get drawn. I haven't quite worked out if there's any home or away advantage for being the higher placed team. Not sure on that. Tato is chasing it. It's a dead rubber, but we're not going to make changes for him. And Scotty is prior engaged. I think he didn't quite get a tactic file into us, so he had to revert. So we're going to go to 60. Robin down the wing fouled, and we get to 61 minutes, and it's a corner. So what we are going to do is just do what Tato usually does in this situation, given that he has to go late. But when we're going to make Pierre for Raul as well. And if he pops up and tells me otherwise, then we'll do something different. Over at the local Fire, 1-0 up. Any conditions issues? If there's any condition issues, I'll make changes. Otherwise, no. And we will crack on to 90 minutes. Ryan Giggs with the corner, but it's clear at 62 minutes played. Fernando Torres can't square it. There is Rossini, 2-1 up on 70 minutes. Corner into the box. Domingos are now having some pressure. Can Giggs magic something up? And Dye lets it run free, but does pull off a double save. We're going to extra time by the looks of it. Raul with a chance. And Rustico Rossini, again, Rossini with a late goal, comes back from the dead to turn it round for the Bisons. And the Local Fire are on the receiving end of another St. Domingo's Bisons comeback for Tato, who will be happy when he watches that 60 minutes onwards back. Kaká with a 5, not impressing. And Rossini with 2 goals and a man of the match performance. Well played, the Bisons. Yeah, agreed. He's been class this season, hasn't he? He's been absolutely class. Over to Alcatraz against the Reigns. Again, 2 managers who can't be with us tonight, so we will just kind of crack on with this one. Lucio in at centre half for Maldini, who's suspended. And the only change from the Memphis Reigns is that Mendes drops out for Kufre, given that he's injured. And this will be quite a quick one, lads, because both managers are busy tonight, so we won't have the chance to submit any changes. Davy Collins, who has been really, really good. It'll be interesting to see if anybody comes knocking for Collins in the summer. I think Hopkins kind of ended up with him as a 3rd or 4th choice, but actually has played him and he's done the bits for him. Ariel Ortega, part of that mega deal. And there is Inzaghi, 10th goal of the season. Alcatraz obviously have qualified for the playoffs. Their form has been stuttery all season, apart from those first 4 games, where they played 4, won 4, and conceded 0. And that really has been the difference. Those 12 points have definitely got them over the line. 46 minutes played now. Alcatraz still 2-1 up. Bishkan, Lucio Keown, Vieri had a half a chance just before half time, and it is the Memphis Reigns that have piled on the pressure. Let's just see how good Collins has been. Well, stats-wise, not been very good, but he feels as though every win for Alcatraz, which hasn't been many over the last couple of seasons, over the last couple of weeks, that he's been integral to it. There's Hopkins' stats for when he watches back. And there is the Memphis Reigns. Costanzo on a 5. It does look to be a dud, Costanzo, that he's got. And we'll crack on. Can the Memphis Reigns get them back into this? Davids is injured, so we'll go a straight swap for Liverani. We're not going to stop at 60 minutes because both managers aren't here, and it's the last game of the season, so who really lost. We'll just crack on unless there's an injury or a suspension or a red card or whatever. Yellow card for Smuch. And Vieri again being mentioned in the right places for the Memphis Reigns. Emerton lays it off. Bishkan now involved, blocking a hell of a lot of Memphis Reigns attacks as Bishkan. No one can get a header to it from Alcatraz for the corner. And there is the equaliser. This is probably the last game of the night that we want to go to extra time, given that both managers aren't there. Nicky Ferenko with a chance, 92 minutes played. Can the Memphis Reigns steal it? No, they can't. 90 minutes sees 2-2. It's a Desmond. And we'll just have a quick scan for any condition issues. We might have to bring Davy Collins off for Hopkins. And we might have to bring Julio Walker off for Rocks. This is where I struggle because I don't know any of Rocks' players. We'll go Valtellina for Julio Walker for Rocks, just because he's on such shit condition. And we'll go Davy Collins, Ebby Sand. That's a change he's made over the last couple of weeks. And we will play through extra time for the 2 boys, trying to avoid injuries with those changes, especially for Hopkins going into the playoffs, given how good Collins has been over the last couple of little wins that he's had. 99 minutes played now. Kuehl skies it over the boys. Really not been very good since he came in. Harry Kuehl, half time and extra time. And we will crack on to see if we're going to share the spoils. But there is Ebby Sand, the sub, on the goal to give Alcatraz 3 points and a bit of momentum going into the playoffs. And actually did have to weather the storm there a hell of a lot from the Memphis Reigns boys. The Elias with a 10. What a player. What a boy. And over at the Alcatraz with 9s for Davids before he went off. And also for Bishkan, the DMC is really doing that bit there tonight. Over at the Gators v Dandies, the 2 chairmen playing each other. Dan stays with this kind of a kitchen Dan version of the 4-1-3-2 or the 4-1-3-1-1, you would say, whatever. But with a couple of surprise appearances. So Roberto Carlos has dropped for Felipe. Didier Gat is dropped for Ito. And Ile is dropped for Minitis. And Simeone comes in for Guardiola, which I think is a much better shout. Over at the Dandies, whose playoff position is assured, and they do go full rotation. And we have Paul Ince, Chris Hope, David Prutton, Steve McManaman making his first appearance of the season in AMC, and we'll see how they get on with this as we get underway. I think we've only got the one game left after this, and I think that's Steam Pigs v Vikings. So we've made good pace tonight. Obviously, everybody absolutely chomping at the bit for the playoff draw. Any predictions in the playoff draw? Is anybody sitting there thinking I'm absolutely bound to get X? I think Dimble v Stee could be a bit of a draw, and I think me v Tato could be a bit of a draw. No surprises there from the Dandies. Jermaine Defoe struggling on a 5, so we will just make that change. We'll bring on. No, we're not going to bring on anybody because I've only put first teamers on the bench. Over at the Gators, nothing condition wise, and Kitchen Dan is there. Play on, he says 6s, 7s, and 8s as we'll keep going to 60 minutes. Paul Ince with a tackle there and conceding the foul. We get to 60 minutes, and there's a big save from Mott Poom. Not words that you say ever so often. Over at the Dandies, nothing condition-wise. Paul Ince on 76%, so we'll just make a little change with Cambiasso coming in, and we'll show the Gators there, who are a bit of a patchwork quilt of ratings there. Some 7s, some 6s, and just the 1 8. 79% for Felipe, and Dan says to carry on. He's definitely looking forward to seeing the back of this season. Lednev hits the post with a header. Not renowned for his heading, but he must have rose above there. Prutton now trying to get down the wing. Crespo, Finnan tackles. Crespo at the ground. Riquelme misses the target. Lednev with another chance there. 87 minutes played. Riquelme with a big chance. There's got to be a goal before 90 minutes. Both teams really trying to get the winner. Nobody wants extra time. And 90 minutes and extra time is what we get. Gators on top definitely look the most threatening. Some big saves from Mott Poom. Over to the players, 8s, 7s, and 9s with Felipe on 74%, Rui Costa on 79%, and Riquelme on 6. Maybe just the only things that Dan needs to think about at the 90-minute mark. Over at the Dandies, nothing significant in terms of fitness-wise, and some players with some decent ratings. Mott Poom and David Prutton both looking solid. Steve McManaman and Jermaine Defoe struggling. So we'll just wait to see if Dan wants to change anything there at the 90-minute mark. 3 carries on the bounce from Dan, desperate to see the back of this, and I don't blame him. Graces the crossbar from the Dandies, but here comes Seedorf, 2-ran with a header. Pressure from the Gators, half time and extra time. Let's keep going. If the Dandies were to win this, they'd have absolutely stolen one based on the stats. 107 minutes played. Prutton with a big tackle. 110 minutes played now. Dandies getting very little of this ball, and the season fizzles out to a 0-0 draw after 120 minutes. And you'd think probably both sets of fans are going to want their money reimbursed. Kevin Hoffland with a massive performance at the back, 15 out of 10, 20 tackles won, with 10 of them being key. What a performance that is from Hoffland. How is that fair compared to his average this season? Well above his average this season in terms of tackles made per match and headers. Well played, Dan. All the best for next season, mate. No doubt it'll be a big window for you. Steam Pigs go as is, who have found their shooting form, and you'll see there's some mad international cup thing going on that I really haven't cracked what the purpose of or format is. The McConaughey Cup. No doubt Mega Horse will be able to tell us what the fuck that is. Over at the Alaska Vikings, they go as is as they look to continue their great form, really only just finishing behind the Bisons. If they were to win tonight, they'd be 6 points behind the Bisons. Yeah, they are definitely in the hunt for the overall winner as we kick this off. Ten minutes played. Shevchenko's name being mentioned. That's what they'll be wanting to see. Zanoni in there. Van Nistelrooy's been quiet this season, but he still popped up with big goals when absolutely needed. And there is Roy Mackay, seemingly out of nowhere, who has been probably, Jens will correct us, but probably the Vikings' player of the season, I reckon. And there is Mackay again with a brace. 2-0 up inside 35 minutes. Oh, big save from the Vikings keeper after having initially spelled it. Cuenca spilling it. But he does pick it back up. Assists Javier Zanetti and Jaap Stam. And yeah, fairly even match stats wise. And Steam Pigs just struggling to really get anything going in the top end of the pitch, although Shevchenko on an 8 will give Steve a little cause for hope. Yeah, Tato, this is last game of the night, last game of the regular season, so the playoff draw will be imminent. I think it's a late night for Jens, so I don't think he's about. But Steve, if you're about, my man, let me know what you want to do there, bud. Nothing conditions-wise to concern yourself with. Eric Addo, fan favourite for Steve, but hasn't really done much this season. Steve, I'm just going to give you a couple of seconds, mate, and if I don't say anything from you, I'm going to crack on. It was 9:15 last time we heard from you, Steve, so we'll just crack on, and if we get to 60, we will make your changes. 49 minutes played. Is Mackay going to get a hat-trick? I think he's had 1 this season so far, maybe 2. 60 minutes. Emerson is off. Cannavaro is off, rather, for a professional foul. So we'll do 60-minute changes now, and I think that's what we'll do for the Vikings. It's as close I can get to the first 11 without changing things too much. Conditions-wise, if Jens does pop up, dead 8 on 73%. I think what we'll do is we'll just try and protect Deddy for the playoffs for him and do Junior as a like for like. And we'll go over to the Steam Pigs, who are a mix of ratings, a bit like the Gators were. Emerson on a 7 but booked, Totti on a 7 but booked. Totti, has he been disappointed since he came in? Probably not. 5 goals inside 9 games is pretty good. On a 7.75. Conditions wise, anything we need to do for Steve? No, nobody below 84%, so we will roll till full time. And there is Horse with the overview of the Copa Mercanorte. 3 clubs from 3 North American and 5 South American nations. Wow, it's interesting. So almost like a North v South invitational, as the Vikings look to just see this one out, and they do so with a massive win. Steam Pigs really not able to lay a glove on them despite their match stats and their chances as we get to full time. Man of the match performance from Roy Mackay, who has been phenomenal this season. 15 goals in 32 games with 4 assists and 4 man of the match performances. That is unbelievable. All right, then. This is the moment you've been waiting for. You've seen the first fixture come through. We've got Drivetrain against the Vikings there. And if we count down from 3, 2, 1. It's Duggan against Dimble. Fuck off, man. Honestly. We've got Alcatraz against the Basins. We've got the Dandies against Pelham. We've got Des Moines against the Steam Pigs. And we've got Drivetrain against the Vikings. Who's going to be happiest out of those draws? Probably Tato, I would imagine. Probably closely followed, I don't know, closely followed by Dimble's probably happy he's got the Dandies. They've not been great this season. But then there were 8 inside 4 fixtures. So this will be the first round of fixtures. I'm going to chat with Dan and see if it's worthwhile trying to do playoff fixture 1 and playoff fixture 2 in the same night, lads, just because obviously there's only 4 games, which I think is a shout. Otherwise, otherwise it would be kind of 3 streams to get through the playoffs. Horse just making the point that it looks seeded. I think I would tend to agree. It's almost like here's the top 4 teams and there's 5 to 7. Yeah. So 8th v what's that? 8th v first. 8th v first. 7th v. That wouldn't make sense, would it? I don't think that quite makes sense. Anyway, we'll try and work it out. All right, boys, I shall progress the save, get packs out, and we'll decide what we're going to do for Sunday night. I think it makes sense to try and do 2 playoff fixtures in the one night, rather than stretching it out over 3 streams. Cheers for your time, boys. Good night, and up the All Stars.